licensing thing on where then it would be a matter of he'd have to get a royalty fee for every unit sold or whatever, like that kind of thing. So, I mean, I'm not sure. That's an interesting question.
And right, and I'm only, I think of things like this. I guess it's been posted. I probably picked up on it when I saw some of the guys kind of dabbling with these questions and wanting answers. AM radio stations, of course, utilizing, pure signal or adaptive pre-distortion as it's known. And of course, even cellular companies, right, to keep us separated all on the same cell towers, they have to have adaptive pre-distortion. So I would imagine it's there. It's just, I guess, your version, what you want to come up with, most likely.
K1GMM.
Hey,
how you doing there,
Good morning, Steve.
Hey, good morning. Been listening for a while. Copying the mail here. Yeah, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well.
Good morning.
You are
just waiting on a snowstorm, Steve. K1WIL.
We have a request, Steve. We all voted, and we want to change the name of your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I bet you I know what that is. And my wife was kind enough to order some goodies for me. So, I'm going to have an intro to pretty much everything. And I think you guys, I think it's funny, but usually what I think is funny, nobody gets. So I don't have much of a sense of humor. Good morning, Bill. And good heavens. Is that Art? I don't know who's in here. I'll listen through. Go ahead and hit me with what you got. And I have a feeling it's the same direction I'm going. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I was leaning towards SDR, Rumble in the Jungle.
Oh, okay. Ooh, I got to write that down. Ooh, because I'm looking for a catchphrase for the intro. So, all right, let me drop it. Good. See what I mean? You guys are so creative, man. And it's okay if you poke fun at me, too. So what was that? SDR, Rumble in the Jungle. I think, right?
Yeah, you got it, man. And, when you come in with that 40 hertz stuff, like what I'm listening to now, and then the clean and brightness on the other side, oh my goodness, it just came to mind. Rumble in the Jungle.
That warm and fuzzy feeling, I like to say.
Oh man, great work, man, great work. I make mention of it as often as possible. Seriously, putting those videos together, it's not easy stuff.
What's up, Bill?
Of course, I guess you still have a day job. I don't know, but yeah. If you do, and you still have the time to do what you do for the channel, and great info and instructional stuff, and referencing, do this, don't do that, and hey, here's the trick, and this is the box, and here's the ticket, and man, seriously, you helped out a lot of hams, man.
Oh, well, that's good. It's good to hear, because that's the whole purpose. It's a method to the madness, and I learn a lot in the process. People probably think, you go down these roads, and I don't want people to think I'm an expert in this crap, because I'm not. It's just, I try to present stuff I'm playing with, the routine, man. Stuff I'm playing with, experimenting with, and more often than not, people may take an idea and they'll run with it, and then I'll be like, holy crap, I never thought about that before. They'll contact me, and it'll put me in another direction. I'll kind of go, so it's a give and take thing. It's neat. It really is. A lot of good people out there, a lot smarter than I am. And, they may see something and go, ooh, what if I did this? And, oh, yeah, it's all good all the way around.
It keeps experimentation phase going in the whole hobby.
It does, right? That's part. Well, it is part of it, I guess. At least for me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, if you couldn't do that, it'd be boring.
I know you're doing the VST thing. What's the transceiver though? You're doing the DAW with?
It's actually all three, believe it or not. I'm on the Apache right now, and I do it with the Sun, and I do it with the 7300. And the 7300 was really, it is nothing new. I always say this, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just finding it, you know what I mean? And, this can be done with any transceiver using a USB audio codec and a USB cable. And I got thinking one day, and I think there's some folks over in the UK that do it. And I thought, well, geez, there's got to be a way to get this stuff into the 7300. And away we went, and Vito's doing it. So it's you can do it with anything, anything that's got that kind of a connection. Pretty cool stuff. And the whole rack thing, I still have my rack here, and I thought about playing with it again, but everything is so clean, not necessarily audio wise, but no cables, no gear sitting here, big stack of metal boxes sitting on the desk, and it's a little tormenting at times. I was, what was it, yesterday or the day before? I had a friend of mine tell me, I didn't even know this, Glenn, K4GHC, he was listening to a stream, and I'm streaming right now, and he's like, your audio sounded weird. I don't know if it was, nobody said anything over the air, so nobody tipped me off, and I would appreciate it if someone did, if something like this happened, But he said, it sounds like you're talking in slow motion. I'm like, dadgummit, here's the problem with the VAC stuff and the DAW stuff. Windows hijacks the sample rate sometimes. So it hijacked the sample rate, shifted it to 44.1, and screwed the audio all up in the stream. I suspect it was doing that over the radio as well. So there's so many things to check,
I have that problem with the damn buffers. The buffers change on their own.
I hate to say this, but that's why I'm still staying old school on an analog gear. I respect you guys doing that, and I love it, but I don't have to deal with Windows.
I'm telling you, you will rip your freaking hair out, man. There are so many things that I have to check before I even key the radio or start pushing a stream. I got to go in and check the sample rates, make sure they haven't been hijacked. I got to key up the radio, kick the monitor on, make sure the audio's right coming out of there. I got to do a quick test recording in OBS to make sure everything's okay. I'm telling you, man, I do miss the rack. The rack was always there. You turn it on, hit the power, the power strip, boom, everything lights up, and punch the key. Nothing to go wrong there. It's just very simple.
Yep, and I'm down to 3 boxes. PreSonus Mic Pre 2496 and an XR 12. That's all I run now, and I only use the XR for the gate and a little bit of plating, and that's it. So simple rack equipment now.
Holy crap, that thing sounds good. I would not mess with that, period. Ain't broke, don't fix it. You want to play, that's a different story. K1GMM. All right, shutting up. You guys carry on. I'll see if I can get back in the... you guys get back on track. I didn't want to hijack anything, but nice to hear you. K1GMM.
KC2QMA
at 20.
And 9HLL at 20. Steve,
KC2QMA.
But yeah, I know. I trust me. I was trying to get that XR to emulate the 2496, and I can get close, but it's just not the same. So I was like, I'm just going to feed the, mic through the pre and the 2496 and hit the XR and run it at that, because it works, and, there's no messing with it.
Yeah, I think he stepped away. I'm watching the live stream. it's kind of cool, these guys doing this. You know, Doug, of course, has been doing it for a while now. And
W6RG, hey,
Steve,
I know
course,
you guys
there's
are.
so many, man, jumping on this streaming while operating. You know, while you're on, it's
You guys
right there live, and then they pull in on the screen. They'll blow up the pan adapter. You get to hear your audio, and they do it right too. I mean, they're naturally listening at the same bandwidth that we're transmitting. And it's a great reference. It really is.
Yeah, and I just realized my pure signal wasn't on. Come on, there we go. Okay, I've been running with it off the whole time.
Geez, you're railroad tracking it. Still clean on this end. I think you may want to be one of the loudest ones. Make sure I'm not doubling here. Okay. Yeah, you're one of the loudest ones. You know, I find on the Anon, I don't know if you guys have found this. If I'm looking at my ALC right now, and it's just, I try to run my ALC. The card is a little hot, but I try to float it between, -5 and just have it just bump 0 dB. I don't push it too hard on that limiter, but oftentimes it's not enough audio to actually kick pure signal, kick it in its arse, and get it running. It'll go green on correcting, but the feedback light will kind of alternate between blue and green. And this happened the other day, and I noticed that, happened to look over at the card, and I didn't have enough audio to drive everything. That's the other thing too. It seems like every time I boot up the computer, it changes. So I have to adjust the gain on the card. Some strange anomalies with this DAW stuff. It's like every time, and it doesn't matter. I can shut the computer down, come back an hour later, boot it up, and the drive level is different. Every single time I have to make an adjustment. See, I just looked over at it a few seconds ago, and it was too hot. I was getting a clip light on the card. So I haven't touched a thing. I don't touch anything in Cakewalk or nothing. So kind of quirky. The Anons, they're a cool rig, but boy, there's a lot going on, isn't there? You got to keep track of a lot of stuff. Go ahead.
And yeah, I do. See, I run the straight ALC. Mine just does bump 0. I mean, that -1 range to 0 is where I keep that. It's probably a tick hot on this 4K profile, but I get consistent feedback on it. And you'll get a blue indicator once in a great while, but just sitting here talking right now,
hey, Lester.
It's constantly flashing, and it's just barely touching 0.
Hey, Gunter, how's it going? Lester, W3LES.
Feedback going into this thing, too.
W6RG. Yeah, the band has gotten good. I listen to you guys quite often.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Sort of.
You hear Steve pretty good? I know you guys are maybe close. I know he's up in the Connecticut area.
Got to jump in on 3630.
Oh, yeah. I hear him great. He sounds awesome.
You hear that, man? You hear that? Steve, by the way, we're on a group, too, so we go back and forth with the texting, but I was making reference to John about listening to that 40 hertz region. It's unbelievable. It almost sounds like John down on 3630 in the 8K range, when he's
Morning, Tintillo.
You know what I'm talking about, Rick, right? You hear that, right? That rumble in there for 4K. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. And I actually rolled my low is off at 30, and I love that, but so many people don't like it, so I just learned just to leave it at 30 and be done with it. That way it gets rid of some of that rumble, but I do like it.
Yeah, it sounds great, Steve. It's definitely the best 4K audio I've heard in a long time.
Super duper.
Steve, you say you are streaming right now?
Yes, I am. And the other station that popped in, you're roaring in here, blasting. I had to reach over and grab the AGC and kind of clamp it down a little bit. I am running a limiter on the input to the stream from you guys, so it tends to smooth the audio out quite a bit. So it's not, There's a big difference between like a 20 to 30 over and like a 10 over, 15 over, so I'm trying to smooth it out. It looks like it works okay. But yeah, streaming. And 3630 group. I can't. W6RG, who is that? He popped into the stream. Anybody know who that is? WR6G, Whiskey Romeo 6 Golf. He didn't put his name in here. He said to pop in on 3630 sometimes. Boy, I listen in there and holy crap. That AK is just, it's just ridiculous. That beautiful top end, silky top end. And 4K is good. AK is like, it's twice as good.
I just noticed Chris, WR6G, posted a comment on there. Tell him I said hi, because he probably can't hear me. We're too close.
Oh, he's too good for us here. He won't transmit here.
Could you pass the Grey Poupons?
Passing now.
Here, come on in here.
Yeah, bass is good, as long as you got the highs to go with it, I guess.
And as long as the station listening has the potential to hear it all.
That's the catch right there. Most people, well, I don't know. I don't know what the ratio is. Most guys, like if you're listening on a conventional rig, right? The audio is only going to be as good as what you're listening on. If you got like an SDR, some front end that's capable of being stretched out below 100 hertz, and 3.6 is good. Run 3.3, 3.6. But being able to hear that, and I've talked about that a lot. If you're going to go down this road, you got to have a decent monitoring system, at least a good pair of cans, and you need something that you can listen on because you'll never appreciate it. So, you ain't listening on something like that, you'll never appreciate it or hate it, I guess I should say.
Yeah, if you don't have the ability to have good receive, then it's kind of like putting a pillow over your head.
Exactly. And then, there's times for this too, Hey, Harry, did you hear about Irv? He went down to the driveway to check the mail and he slipped and he fell today.
You're 5'9" in the contest, good buddy.
Oh, that was me. Sorry about that. So that's why we love it, man. With a click of a mouse, what those, founding fathers had to do in the mid-'90s with their Jensen transformers and ripping filters out of old Yaesus and balance modulator modifications. And, oh, my gosh, it took months. And here we are. We just went from Collins to ESSB with a click of a mouse.
Well,
KC2QMA.
Let's see. Can I do that? I think I can while transmitting. Nope, won't let you do it.
K1GMM.
And 4QNT at the bottom.
I'll do the ICOM audio for you there, big boy. Or wait, there we got the ICOM audio in 9HLL.
Nothing wrong with tight audio.
Well, no, I think that's a little less than ICOM, but at least that, you get your 29. But, right here is 225 to 2600. You're ready for the DX and make someone happy if they like this. And I think it works on transmit, Rick. I'll hold the PTT. I'm going to drop down menu, and there you go, right back to 4 on the fly. Didn't unkey.
Yeah. Okay. Well, right there is 230. So
5'9", 5'9".
4, but because I'm not going to change the high end. But yeah, there you go. We'll get that back down here where it should be.
I love the technology. So, Steve, I'm not sure if you've been keeping up with some of the posts, but John made a great post last week or week before, I believe, on the expert community page, the forum, about implementing built-in VSTs in the GUI, like in your expert software or a Altheta software, and kind of have like a whole little deal off to one side to have it all ready to go. And, of course, the foundation would be ASIO. Everything would link through ASIO.
I heard you guys talking about that earlier, and what a brilliant idea. Boy, I'll tell you what. Somebody made a comment. They said, this is way overdue, and I agree with that. I never even, to be honest with you, until I heard one of you say that a while back this morning, I never even thought about that before. That is a great idea. I think personally, well, I'm not going to say it. So is that what they're actually talking about? They really need to fix some other things on the Sun before they head down that road, I think. I don't know what the end result is going to be, but I kind of associate the V3 with an all-out train wreck. Like if you ever saw a high-speed train wreck, a derailment, that's... Yeah, I played with it a little bit. I was like, good Lord. Of course, for the guys that don't have an Apache, the Apaches tend to be a little primitive looking, a little DOS looking, dated, I should say, but they are pure function. The control you have over the front end of these things is astronomical, and they really need to fix a couple things before they start fussing with that. That's, you know what they say about opinions, don't you? They all stink like a toilet bowl, including mine.
Yeah, I even said on the forum when I posted it at the expert forum, first, get the other stuff right. I agree with you. This is more like a kind of suggestion in the box kind of thing. I just think that VST technology has been around for so long. All the real hard, heavy lifting has been done. And Steinberg is the creator of that technology, has no problem, essentially sharing that technology with the world because it just pushes the whole VST thing forward. So it's a doable thing. It would take a little bit of work, but I would rather them fix the major functions of our software first.
Yeah. A true AGCT would be phenomenal. Not so much an RF gain. I think that's the first thing that, boy, I'll tell you what, if they could straighten that situation out, it would be a crackerjack. That's my biggest gripe. Having the Anon, even SDR console will eat the Sun for lunch as far as the AGCT. There's no adjustment to it. You can't adjust the slope. The email correspondence I was privy to, must have been last summer. They acted like, they basically came out and said, paraphrasing, there's really no difference between an AGCT and an RF gain. I'm like, what? I almost fell out of my chair when I read that one.
Yeah. Could be the language barrier, too. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and I'll make a comment. Having been
all those things are going to come in time. All the advanced algorithms, are going to be added to the stuff. It's just the evolution of SDR, and these are all ideas along the way. But I would personally rather have on the expert, I'd rather have pure signal first before I had any of these.
Will come around. They're pretty early on. It kind of reminds me of the very early days of Power SDR on the Anons. Anybody that's done it for a while, you got to admit it was a little rough back in the early days.
Yeah, I got both. Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's just my opinion. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff, and it's what's important. And I got both of you, by the way. There's a little dribbling going on there, but I got both of you. It's what's most important to you. You know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. I'm speaking just from my own personal experience. That's it. Take it from what it's worth. I personally love, I'll tell you what, that's what I mean. If they could just fix a couple things, why they threw V2 out, that's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater and a freaking bathtub. Why would you do that? It's a beautiful GUI, man. It's very functional. It's very similar to like Thetis. Everything's on the main screen. Why are you going to bury everything? I just don't understand why they threw everything out and started from scratch. But hey, I don't get it. There's obviously something going on that I just don't understand.
Yeah, Steve,
are goons allowed in here?
The problem with the Anon software currently is that it's old code. It's just old code that's been, cleaned up a bit and made more efficient, but it's just old code. It's time. Something's got to break through. Some modern, newly coded software using, Qt libraries and all the latest programming languages. That's what's got to happen. The Anon hardware is just too damn good for the software to hold it back.
Well, and John, that I know you dabbled with it, when you had your 8,000 Anon, but you were, I think at the time, you were Power SDR MRX. But truly, when you see Thetis up close and in action, especially the expand feature. I mean, and there you go, Steve. You just touched on it. V2, that beautiful GUI. Now, if you want to stream it and streamline it and lose all the framing, all the picture framing around the pan adapter, as you know, with the Anon, as soon as you click on collapse and bring it out, I mean, there it is. Everything gets tucked away behind the scenes, and all you have is a waterfall and a pan adapter. And, little features like that can easily be done, like even on that expert software.
Yeah. For folks that haven't run Thetis before, like I have both rigs here, so I can put them up against each other. And I can tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Thetis is a freaking monster. It is a monster paired with the hardware. Nothing on this planet can touch an Anon with Thetis as far as control over the front end. Nothing. I'll stake my life on that. It is just a beast of a platform. Is the coding old? Yeah, it probably is. It's funny because I just lit up MRXPS this morning, playing around, and good Lord, this thing is just ridiculous. And yeah, the expand. See, that's the thing. If you look at what Richie's working on, right? There's a lot of newfangled technology and different things available out there, and as far as connectivity, and I get that. But from a purely functional standpoint, right? So I play with 3 different rigs here, and of course, this is my own personal experience. I gravitate, believe it or not, I find myself gravitating to the 7300 running an HF Plus with SDR console because it's pretty damn close to the sun. It's splitting hairs. Now you're talking about $150 front end. Now I personally find the Sun's front end is no slouch. I actually prefer, if I was going to run it uncorked, right, opened up, I actually prefer the Expert front end over the Apache. Now my Apache's old. It's an old board. It's a 200. It just has a smoother sound to it, mellower. It's not, the 200 has kind of a brittle nature to it. The Sun doesn't sound like that, but once you bring in the control of the front end, there is no contest. Thetis, what Richie has been doing with all the different features from a purely functional standpoint, see, that's what I mean. They need to fix the basics because there's some basics there that just don't work. And again, that's my opinion. I'm not comparing the two. Now, I'll say this. From a DX perspective and a contest rig, I'm not going to run the Anon during QSO parties or contests. I like the Sun for that. I can pinch that thing down to like 2 kilohertz and it easily stomps this 200D. easily humiliates it. As far as pinching it down, I ran all 3 rigs during the CQ Worldwide DX contest, and you know what that's like, right? And the Sun beat all of them, hands down. That was the better rig. Now, maybe a 7000 is better. I have no idea. This is just my experience with what I have to play with, you know. K1 GMM.
N4QNT to 40.
9HLL.
KC2 QMA.
VA3 VMD.
W4 STS.
Yeah, there's no question that the Anon software is a tweaker's paradise, and it gives you full control over just about every aspect of it.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, compared to Smart SDR, that basically reminds me of playing Donkey Kong in 1982, 100%.
Exactly.
Vito.
Hey, Vito.
The Godfather.
Hey, buona mattina, everyone. Hope all is well. Hey, Mr. Larry King, the suspenders are on the way.
Already got him. Yep, and who was it? Renamed the channel SDR Rumble in the Jungle. So I'm going to be incorporating that. You guys are all a bunch of freaks.
N4QNT coined that phrase.
Copyright.
I'm sending you a pair of suspenders with your call sign on them.
Oh, there you go. There you see. I see what I mean. I'm such a square. I didn't even think of that. I should have told Lisa. I said, "Hey, could you order me a pair of monogram suspenders?" I got to ask before I do.
Oh, tell her to save her money. They're on the way.
Oh, you're serious?
The only royalty I want for the new name is give me a hashtag in front of my call sign.
Oh, damn right. I'm going to send them to you, man. I'm definitely going to send them to you.
How do I do a hashtag? I think I know what that means. Yeah, I act like I'm technically savvy, but I'm not.
I don't know. I guess there's a way to promote the channels, you know, getting involved with all those little other outlets there, the Instagram stuff, the TikToks, and all this hashtagging and cross social media algorithms. And oh my goodness, man, you can blow that channel up worldwide.
I think I'm getting a power line noise out there somewhere.
Hey, I heard you guys talking about this a while. I've been listening for a long time. I got to ask you guys. This is a problem I'm trying to solve. So I'll get anybody running diversity. I've gone months without this noise, and 2 or 3 days ago it showed up on 80 meters. Series of humps across pan adapter. I chalked it up to a second homeowner who comes up and turns something on, because it'll be there for 2 or 3 days and then boom, it's gone. And it'll be there for, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 weeks. It'll be gone. And then all of a sudden it'll show up again. It's not this house, because I powered every single thing down in this house. And I don't know where it's coming from. So I saw a video online. Don't ask me the guy who it was. Great video on diversity with the Anon. I think it was a 7000, and there were a couple comments in there. I don't know if you guys have seen this. And he runs, I can't remember what the antenna is, but the noise needs to be as high as the transmit antenna for diversity to actually work. And he had a plasma TV. Did you guys see this? And it wiped it out. Now, the antenna I have out there right now, the receive antenna is just, it's like a, 130-foot end-fed, half wave 80 meters with a 49-to-1 on it. and it's only about 3 feet off the ground. Now, needless to say, the receive on it is horrible compared to the loop. So I need another antenna. So I was thinking going to, I think originally I had a quarter wave. I cut it to a quarter wave and literally just jacked it into the center pin, pulled it about 60 feet straight up into a tree. And that worked pretty good. So my question is, if you guys play with that, what are you running on a transmit antenna, and what is the receive antenna you're actually using? Where does it go? Whoever, survival of the fittest, have at it. K1GMM, I'll listen.
Well, you make sure I got it here. I'll make a comment. My neighbor down the road runs it with his. He's got a 80-meter dipole. It's about 10 feet off the ground that he runs. They built a substation right next to him, and he's got some pretty nasty noise down there. Gets rid of it completely, and just that matter of fact, he uses that 10-foot high dipole for receive a lot of times, and it works well.
Yeah, for my experience, Steve, a ground-mounted loop, like a delta loop, approximately 36 feet on each leg, triangle shape, of course, and then a current balun at the corner, and basically get that to your radio. It works phenomenal with diversity.
Really? Okay. Maybe I'm overthinking it a little bit. All right. So here's another question. An anomaly I had this morning. For some reason, Thetis is not remembering my VA. No, let me tell you exactly what it is. If you go into setup, display, RX1, it's not remembering my high level in the waterfall. It seems like every time I start it up, I export the database, it defaults back to something else. I don't know why. Now, the waterfall AGC is checked on, but you are able to adjust the high level in the box. Not the low level, but the high level on the waterfall and the AGC offset. So I was curious if you guys have seen that. If you're running the Panafall, don't know how to fix that. I can't seem to get it stable so it stays where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I haven't experienced that. That's odd, and everybody, maybe a different version of Thetis or different firmware. And I know there's some interaction between other firmwares and versions of Thetis that don't play well together, and little quirky little glitches could occur. So I don't know. Do you what are you running, Steve? Are you doing the latest protocol firmware? Maybe not, because it's a 200D. I'm not sure how that works, perhaps. Maybe it's different with a 7000. And then the next question, the version of Thetis, maybe 21K something, 21K8. With that setup, those two versions, 2.21.18 firmware, I've never experienced what you're posing.
Me either.
Okay, so neither. Now, you guys are on more modern rigs, right?
I'm on a 7000, same as Art.
Yeah, that's the latest Mark IIs, the latest boards.
Okay, so now I'm wondering, maybe it is an age in firmware. I'm still on Protocol 1. I had a lot of instability on Protocol 2, but this was almost 2 years ago when I was playing with it. Now, after talking to Rob, W1AEX, as you know, he runs a 200, and he has, I don't believe they're public. He has some Protocol 2 variants of firmware that he has found to be very good with the 200. And let's see, just to give you, I'm running Thetis on Protocol 1 with 21K8, which I believe is the latest patch from Richie.
Yeah, I do recall with Protocol 1 and Thetis, I had that same exact, the description you made about when you have to go back and reset it each time for the pan adapter level or the waterfall or whatever. That did happen to me, and I do remember when I was experimenting with the Protocol 1. So it does happen. It definitely has something to do with the firmware.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. Yeah. See, that's why I asked. Maybe you can point me in a direction. I'm gun shy to change the firmware. I lost the Apache on the network at one point. I have not touched the firmware since. And you know what they say, 99.99% of the time, it's user error. It's something I did, and holy cow, I could not get the radio back. Didn't matter what I did, and I followed the directions on Rob's page. Step by step, I went very slow. Sure enough, I was able to reacquire it and get things switched back over so I could plug it into the LAN and it would see it. You know, that happened the very last time I was putting firmware in and out, and holy cow, talk about I was horrified. I was like, oh great, now I got a 15-pound paperweight sitting here. You can't do it if you're rigged. If the computer in the network doesn't see the radio, what are you going to do with it? I could not get it back. It took me half a day. Fussed with it for hours and finally was able to get it back. So that's why I'm a little gun shy about screwing around with firmware. K1 GMM.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I hate to brick the radio, right?
I tell you, I ran this 7000. I ran on Protocol 1 up until just about a month ago, Steve. So don't feel like the Lone Ranger, because I just wasn't happy with the Protocol 2 firmware that was out there. But, I finally grabbed the dedicated NIC and put it in the box so I could have the radio off the network and, tried it and all in one night, and it all worked out well, and it's been stupid stable since. But, the 200s, I got a couple of buddies on 3630 that have 200s, and they're the same way. They've had a lot of issues with Protocol 2, having to go through 4 or 5 versions to find something that works on that particular radio, and no two radios, all those Angelia boards and stuff back then, no two of them are the same. So you might have to go through several versions to find one that's stable.
So what are you telling me? If it ain't broke, leave it alone. That's where I've been at for about, close to a year and a half.
I have a solution.
I'll tell you right now, me personally, if it's a Hermes or an Angelia board, I'd leave it on Protocol 1 if it's working for you right now, because they're just a little flaky. They just really are. But that's just my opinion.
It's a hot radio, Steve. And even on the used market, you throw a 200D up on whatever forum, and it's gone in about 4 days. Hopefully you should get about 16 or, at least 17 for that baby. And just add on another K and pick up a Mark II.
I've thought about that. As you get on the Zello channel, the guys will be like, oh, here we go again. He's selling a rig. No, I've actually talked about that. That's funny. Tempting. I wouldn't sell it until I acquired till the 7000 arrived, though. I know I could sell this thing, but I've been told I'm really not going to see that much of a difference, really. From a functional standpoint, I don't know. This is, I believe, this is an Orion, I believe. Hardware, what do we got? Firmware version 5.0, Protocol 1, Orion. So this must be the Orion board.
No, it should be an Angelia and a 200D.
No, I think there was a series in the 200D. If it's blue, if it has the blue aluminum brush finish on the base, it should be a 24, Orion 24 board.
Yep, that's it.
The PA deck will be a revision 24, but the main board should be an Angelia.
Yeah, I think, that's right. But it's like you said, the 200Ds, boy, there was a lot of versions.
And I'll say this, I came out of a 10E, okay, not a 10, a 10E, which was the 14-bit Hermes board, to this 7000. I ran that 10E for several years. And, you know, it was pretty stable. I'm not going to complain, but, you know, it's no match for this. There is a significant difference in the front end of the thing versus that 10E, especially with the bandpass filters. But as far as overall performance, not a crap ton.
And for QNT.
Chill out.
That's what, because I have a friend with a 7000, and I got to go in. I got to see if I can zoom into his 7000 and check that out. And I'll be able to notice a difference right away. I think it's a significant improvement as far as the front end of the 200, to be honest with you, because he did over 100,000 points in the CQ Worldwide DX contest, and he had never even worked an event before. He'd been in the freaking hobby for, oh, good heavens, he's been in the hobby well over 20 years. And I convinced him to work it, and he worked it on a 7000, absolutely crushed it for his first try, did great. And that's a testament to the rig as well, So I think there is a big difference. I think once you dig down, I think I should probably see an improvement with going to the 7000 over this.
Oh, you will.
I think my little odd analogy kind of makes sense with this. Is take the 200D and compare that and say that it's very similar to a 486 DX66 computer from 1994. But take that computer and try to load Windows 10 on it today and see what happens.
Are you sure that's not personal bias? If you were to take the bottle of Kool-Aid, the cup of Kool-Aid off the off the table and be totally objective, you think that's really true? Because I know I don't drink anybody's Kool-Aid. I'll tell you right now. I don't care who makes it. I don't care what it is, as long as it does exactly what I want it to do. I don't care. Most people aren't like that. They have an affinity for very specific radios. You got your ICOM lovers. You got your ICOM haters. You got your Ken. You know where I'm going. So I don't know you well enough, but if you were to be totally just pretend you didn't have one, and this is the first day you're running it, right? And you're like, I wonder what these Anons are all about. So, backtrack however many years you have to. You feel that to be really true?
Well, I mean, even with audio, getting audio into the 200D, I mean, totally different than how we route the audio now to the 7K. I mean, true line-in level for the 200D was the 25 dB, the dB connector, and setting up your PTT and then your XLR going into that DBA connector in the 25 pin. Then you had to deal with, if it wasn't a good solid physical metal connection, you had to take the back panel apart, take the DBA connector and scratch everything up so it was metal to metal. And that was some of the shortcomings. And just a few things. And then, of course, the old thing, Steve, back in the day, you bought a Pentium whatever or Intel whatever. You thought you had the latest and greatest, and I'm talking late 90s, of course, early 2000s. And then 2.5 months later, here's the new architecture, the new chipset, and the new Intel, whatever number they call it. And it's like, man, you're like left in the dust. It seems like since the 7K came out, they leveled. They kind of, and like new PCs today, I mean, how much more can we go if we're just checking email and surfing the internet? I mean, the power of a PC today versus the upgrade every 2.5 weeks back in the mid-late 90s. So in a way, the 200 falls into that. They got it right, but they missed on a lot of things, and they got it right with the 7K. But with that said, is that hardware, the new 7K hardware, plays well with the latest firmware, which is important because, for me, you want Protocol 2, you would want that gigabit connection between the PC and the radio. That's a huge advantage right there, is how it talks on the radio. Gigabit versus 100 megabyte. And then, of course, the sample to see the whole band, out to 786,000 edge to edge. There's so much, a lot of things are could be presented with the latest protocol. So, it's just kind of how I feel about the primitive hardware and trying to put the latest software on it, and that's where the some of that falls into play.
Yep, and that's my gripe right now. I would like that bandwidth. That's the biggest thing, is the bandwidth. Bandwidth is very limited on Protocol 1 on Thetis, and MRXPS, of course, because that's a Protocol 1 only, I believe. But yeah, that's my biggest gripe, the bandwidth, especially on 75, 80 meters. There's, 400K of bandwidth on phone there. And Protocol 1 ain't going to do it. It doesn't do it. Even 20 meters. I barely have it on 40. I've got 125 through, dude. Just barely able to sneak it in there on the screen. So, anyways, I'm going to duck into the chat here, and you guys carry on, and maybe you can change directions. K1GMM.
All right, man. N4 QA2.
Yeah, and I was wrong on that. A 200D is an Orion, but it's just a straight Orion, not a Mark II.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah, which is kind of a takeoff of the Angelina, which was in the 100D.
Right. And I think the first generation of the 200D was gray. It had like a gray metal flake finish with an off-gray face. And then as soon as you got the blue one, you got the latest revision, Orion.
Yeah, but you're still, here again, it's still same mess, though. You got multiple different versions of Protocol 2 firmware that you've got to go through to try and find one that works on that particular radio because of the timing issues with the FPGA temperature. So, yeah, it's just a mess. I mean, it really is. And Steve, I'll tell you, I don't regret doing the 7000. That 10E was doing me just fine, but I don't regret it at all, and I like not being stuck now to 192K sample rate either. That is very nice.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Boy. Well, if I were to place an order for a 7000, something's got to go beforehand. So I'm trying to figure out what would go. May pedal the Sun. I like the Sun, though. I keep talking about selling it, but I'm like, oh, I lost that on the network, too. Oh, that was a friggin' hoot. Had a router failure. Something happened last week. Yeah, you guys are going to love this one. See, the Sun functions different than the Anon. All right. The Sun, if you're going to put it on a network, on the local LAN, inside the local LAN, right? You actually write if it comes right out of the box, you have to write the IP to whatever it is, the EEPROM or whatever's in the radio. So once it's written, if something happens to the router, which I never thought of this, so I took the old router, the ISP's provided router. I had to put that back in line until I could sort the ubiquity out because it completely brain farted. Had a power outage and the thing wouldn't come back, and I had no internet connectivity on any of the switches, but if you plug directly into it, it would work. And I have two switches throughout the house here which distribute LAN connections. And somebody told me, they're like, yeah, your router is out of range. Check your DHCP. I think it was Harry Paul out of Scotland. He said, check your DHCP range on the new router, on the router you just put in there. Sure enough, what was written to the Sun, the router was out of range. on the LAN. So I had to go in and change that. Thank God. I was panicking, man, because if you can't access the radio, you can't even change the IP back. You're screwed. So whatever you're using has to be within that range, you know. So, and then I put the old router back in, which is actually the new router, the Ubiquiti. I did a hard reset on that and on the mesh radio, mesh node, and everything came back, and that's what I'm on right now, and that's been working. So, and that came back out of range. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me! It came back as 168.188. Now the IP that was written to the sun was 187.112. So that was out of range. Wouldn't see the sun. I'm telling you, man, it was a whole lot of freaking hair pulling the past couple days. I was like, well, what good is this radio if I can't even access it to get it back? You know, so you got to be a little bit of an IT freak to run these things.
Yes, I've heard other guys talk about that too. I never did understand why they did that, other than maybe they just didn't want to implement DHCP in the thing. But yeah, writing that static in there initially, well, that can cause problems.
Yeah. Anyways, you guys carry on. I'm going to take a sidestep, and we got lunch going. So nice to hear everybody. And catch up with you later. Band's kind of floating around a little bit, but everybody's an S9, sometimes way over, so depending on the timing. So good to hear you all, man. Have a good Sunday. Expecting a little snow up here. I think it's been downgraded. I think there's going to be a little rain tomorrow. So, but high winds. So got forecasted wind speeds of 50, which in this valley out of the south to southeast, it's a very, very bad direction here. And if they're calling for 50, gust to 50, we'll have easily 75 to 100 miles an hour, easily. So if I'm off the air for a while, you know what happened. I'm going to go out and release everything, but hopefully there's not a lot of damage. Haven't had one of those real blasters in a couple years, and it looks like that's what we got coming. So maybe a lot of antenna work coming in the next few days. We'll see. Anyways, we'll see y'all later, man. 7-3 K1 GMM.
Okay, Steve. Great to talk with you, man. Appreciate the good topics. And, you know, we get to bounce things back and forth a little bit, ideas, and of course that's what it's all about. So, you know, like you said, we learn as we do here with this SDR stuff. So, and that's what's fun, and especially with you, right? All three, man. The ICOM, the Sun, and the Anon. So you're juggling a lot of hats there. Fantastic. Hey, all the best, and take care. Enjoy your Sunday, and hope no damages, occur with the darn weather. So 7-3 from N4QNT, Art in Central North Carolina.
Yep, see you, Steve. Take care. Sound fantastic. Although, like I said, the band's starting to take a little dive here towards Indiana. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Catch you later. 7-3 K1GMM N9HLL. See ya.
Yeah, we'll see you guys later. And I do appreciate all the feedback. I hear you, and I will process everything. So I appreciate you answering those questions, man. So we'll catch you guys later. All the best. Yeah, boy, band is squirrely. Yeah, as you sound louder. It's because of your audios, you know, the audio you got going. You sound louder than you are. You're about an S8 to S9 at best in here, but you sound like you're about 10 to 20 over. So there you go. Catch you later. K1 GMM.
The rumble in the jungle.
All right, folks. I'm out of here. What's going on, Andy? Yeah, interesting stuff. And I'm glad guys are willing. Boy, it sounded like I broke my headphones just now. I'm glad guys are willing to talk about this stuff because there's a lot that I need to consider. I figured that was for you, Glenn. If you're still in there. And VUNRENT, how you doing? And anybody, that's what I was wondering, if there was a big difference between the Apache, the 200D, and the new 7000. It sounds to me like there is. Unless, good to hear you, man. Information is power. I like it. So we'll catch you guys later. I'm seriously thinking about doing a Q&A stream. Start doing Q&A streams. In relation to the website. They may be a bust, but what I will do is I will schedule them in advance and people can pop in and do a Q&A, something like that. So see if I can help some folks out directly instead of going through email and all this other garbage, So I guess my screen is still freaking out here. Still cycling. All right. I was back on there this morning. KX4ZC. Happy Sunday, man. Not sure where you're at. Yeah, Foreland, I think it's a little bit of a stretch. It was today, Glenn, because Art was kind of floating in and out, and he was kind of weak a little bit. But usually I don't get Foreland in here that strong at this time of the day. First thing in the morning, oh yeah, Foreland's blasting. So, I don't know, kind of look for something like that, and we'll catch you all later, 7-3.